really know where to start with this video. I don't even know how to film this video because the room behind me is so ridiculous that I'm slightly hyperventilating. Hello one and all, and welcome to Seen Through Glass, and welcome to Santa's Grotto. That's the only way to describe this place, because the lineup of cars behind me are part of one collection, and it's such an eclectic, yes, my new favourite word, collection that we've got things, we've got Porsches, we've got Ferraris, we've got American Muscle, we've got a CLK Black Series. Everywhere I look, there's another ridiculous car. I could make about 17 6-hour-long videos just in this room. After the tour, which we're about to have, of all the insane cars lying around in here, I've been given the opportunity to take any two, out onto the road. You're about to realise how difficult that decision was. One of the most difficult decisions of my life, but I have made it, and so we'll come back to that in a second. Some of you may or may not agree with the cars that I've chosen, but I don't care, because I'm the one here and I'm the one with the opportunity, so I've been selfish. But anyway, right now, as I say, let's have a look around. Let's see what insane pieces of metal are hiding in this room. I feel like we'll be doing this place a disservice if we don't touch on every car in some way.
We can do that.
Yeah, so everyone meet Brian, the absolute hero who's invited me down here, and the owner of this incredible collection.
And my wife, of course.
Of course, hey, let's not leave her out of these things. So yes, let's just walk around, talk me through, tell me the story, tell me what we're looking at.
Well, I tell you what, everybody out there probably has a project here too. I've got two of them here to some extent. 72 911 Carrera. Engine is in one of those two boxes there, so that's going to...
It's a work in progress.
That's going to be married together pretty soon. So.
Okay. And is that pretty soon, or are you one of those people that this is going to take 4 years? And
well, okay, you called me out. Yes. Okay, those engines have been sitting in the box for a year. So, okay, so yes.
Sure.
Well, I'm getting to it.
No worries. Okay.
94, 964 Porsche. And the other engine is in the other box over there. So that one hasn't been too long. So I get a little cred there, maybe. 1972 Datsun 510. This car has a little bit of history. It's been a race car all its life, back in, since 72. So a lot of history with that car. It's been completely restored by Troy Ermish. Does a fantastic job. Have yet to really race it in anger yet. I have before, but not since it's been restored. It needs a lot of work. So but it's ready to rock and roll. So this is a 1989 911, backdated to look like a 73 RSR. 77 308 GTB. For 308 for me is like the iconic Ferrari.
Okay, but yellow, not red, huh? Yellow, not red.
We got some red ones back there.
Okay.
So I clicked that one off.
I love a yellow Ferrari, but not every, in most collections they're red. So I think
absolutely, and that's a carbureted car, obviously, which, man, you just can't beat a carbureted car, especially when they're running properly. So this is a 92, 964. So all my cars have a little bit of mileage on them. I like them. I've got bugs on them, but man, they all run well, even though they're a little dirty. CLK 63. Man, they didn't build very many of these cars. I don't know the true number, like 349 around there, but who knows? But man, I love that car. It is an automatic. The gearbox isn't the best. If it was a 6-speed, oh my gosh, they would be even more epic than they are. 550, a Beck 550 Spider. I used to hate these cars back in the day. 72 911, made to look like a 73 RSR. 97 Viper. Man, I was at the Chicago Auto Show when these things came out. I don't know, I can't remember how old I was, but I was not very old. And man, I wanted one of these so bad. I remember sitting down at the Dodge dealership just out in front of the front window, looking at that price tag, $66,900. I was like, one day.
I'll get that.
Yes.
And here we go.
Love it.
Yeah, super cool.
Monster. But now they're kind of slow. 450, 460 horsepower. Supercars, I mean.
The world's gone mad, huh?
It's gone mad, I'm telling you. 89 911, 1996, 355. What can you say? I mean, V8, fantastic sounding car.
We've got to the Ferrari section when there's a trickle charger plugged in.
You're not a kid. Oh my gosh, you got that right. Yeah. So, and the pride and joy of the collection. No, I'm just kidding. Miatas, though, man. I always get teased for having a couple Miatas, but until you drive one on a good curvy road, it's simple driving awesome cars. So, but great car, modified. Oh yeah, so here we've got the 1965-66 Ford Cortina. This is a little bit different. It's got a T5 gearbox in it, transmission with the 347 in it. Puts out about 400 horsepower. Believe it or not, this thing will show that Viper its taillights.
Wow.
It is crazy fast,
Wow.
2,000 pounds.
Ultimate sleeper. You wouldn't expect
It's
that.
pretty ratty.
Yeah.
It's like an old grandma's car, but oh my gosh, it will flat get up and go.
I love it.
72 911 Carrera. Well, let me back up. 87 Carrera, backdated to 72. Mark II Super Performance GT40. 84 308 GTSI. And then one of my original cars I bought, I mean, I just love the lines of the GTBs. So, you know, down there was a 77 308. This is an 84, which is a pretty rare car, especially for the US. In Europe, obviously GTBs were a little bit more liked. But in the US, pretty rare car, fuel injected 84 GTB. Parnelli Jones Mustang 2007, number 110 out of 300 built. Going back old school here. Many of your viewers probably don't even know what this is.
I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what this is.
Oh, well, I tell you what, say no more. This is an SHO, 1990 SHO engine built by Yamaha. You know, back in the day when 7,000 RPM was just like ridiculous.
Sure.
And of course, you know, 220 horsepower in a front wheel drive car doesn't always make sense, and it really didn't in this car. But, you know, back in the day in 1990, this was a 140 plus mile an hour car, 0 to 60 in 6-second range, which was back then.
Quick.
You were too young for them, but pretty quick car. But man, you know, that first car, first love, SHOs. I mean,
hey, each to their own, I'm going to say. It's not the one I'd pick from the collection, but hey, as long as you love it.
That's true. 2007 GT3 RS. Your viewers probably are pretty familiar with these cars, 415 horsepower. 74 RSR race car. Back in this corner, we got a 1992 500E. 1992 NSX, got about 78,000 miles. Literally, I was in college, man, wanted a car, and I was debating between a 930 turbo and an NSX.
Oh,
So
nice.
I love any car, but living in Kansas, small town, 930 turbo, I didn't know it. I mean, I knew a lot about cars, but not working on cars, so I thought, man, this is a safe bet, super reliable. Bought this car with 4,000 miles, and this was literally my daily driver, besides my SHO. Sierra Cosworth, this is kind of a rare dog in the U.S. So
it's rare in the UK. No, they're rare
they
in
know
the UK.
exactly what I'm saying. For everybody in the U.S., I mean, these were like, I mean, who doesn't love the old touring car back in the day? I mean, they just aren't the same anymore. But that being said, I love these cars. 1965 GT350R Mustang, great car. Just wish it had a back seat for my son to ride in with me and family. But 1990 C4, 1986 and a half 928, 84 300ZX Turbo, and of course, man, Lotus, man, I put off buying a Lotus forever because you hear the nightmares.
Lots of trouble, usually serious. There we go.
I hadn't heard that one, but oh
Okay,
my God,
you're going to have that one down.
Believe it or not, it's been trouble-free. So I mean,
Nice. Hey, it touched something.
You know, a lot of your viewers might know what this is. 1988 M5. I used to think they were all black, but come to find out they're not. But love this car. Really fast. I mean, believe it or not, the first car, I think four-door, they would do 155 miles an hour. 2017 GT350R. This is a rare bird. 2000 Cobra R. They built 300 of these. Believe it or not, the rumor is that they built all 300 of them before lunch break at the Mustang factory. All the same color. 385 horsepower, 6-speed gearbox. They had there's very few options on these cars. This one does have the optional Bassani exhaust on it. I do have the stock exhaust as well.
Any yellow Audi is already winning, but an RS6 in yellow?
It's kind of like the taxi cab to some extent. But yeah, this car supposedly is only one of two yellow ones.
Wow.
All right, yeah, we've got a couple Countaches here. First one here is 1985 Lamborghini Countach 5000S downdraft. As you can see here, the engine kind of says it all. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that don't realize that there's, no two Countaches are really honestly the same. Obviously, they're hand built, but there's a difference between the 5000 and the 400Ss. So these are considered low bodies. This is an LP400 S2. It's got a 3.9 liter in it, 375 horsepower versus right around 450. But you can see here the roof line. These cars are considerably lower. The doors are longer. There's a lot of things that are different.
Wow, I genuinely had no idea, and it's pretty obvious to tell. I mean, the mirrors are the helpful.
Yeah, the spats are different on them. They drive completely different. And believe it or not, there's several hundred pounds difference between these cars. I've literally have weighed both these cars. This car is pretty rare. This one supposedly was the last one that left the factory before Lamborghini went bankrupt. If something happens in here, this is the first one that's leaving that door.
Okay, good to know. Don't skip past this.
This is a Kirkham Cobra. Cool car, 2,700 pounds, but I've never washed this car. Renault Turbo 2, man. Yeah, this is another one of those iconic cars, rally cars, homologated cars. You know, your viewers probably know quite a bit about this car, these cars. Lamborghini Gallardo, this is a 6-speed. 1984 Ferrari 400i, 1985 and a half SVO Mustang, 1997 Ferrari 550 Maranello, front engine V12. What can you say? I mean, you understand.
Oh, you don't need to tell me about it. You don't need to pitch this car to me.
Yeah, you're late.
It's taken us all the way around here to get to these ones. But, you know, I've been patient, so yeah.
You're late for a meeting. You got a long ways to go. This is literally the car.
That's your go-to.
Have a good time.
I love it.
Crazy fast car. And 1985, 1980. Actually, this is an 86. High mirror Testarossa. When I was looking for a Testarossa, I had to have the single mirror and the knockoff wheels. I was lucky to find one that had the 16-inch wheels and not the metric wheels. Yeah, this one has Capristo exhaust on it, which,
nice.
Man, when they're stock, they just kind of sound like a sewing machine. You got to really listen for that flat 12 sound. It makes it what it needed to be.
Amazing. So, incredible.
Lovely car.
I did warn you all about how ridiculous this room was, but I hope you now have been able to appreciate it in the same way that I have. But it is time to make that very difficult decision and pick 2 cars to take on the road. But I have a surprise for you. The 2 cars I've chosen are not actually in this room. So yes, here we go. Let's do this. There's definitely an art to getting in an old school race car.
It's funny, isn't it, how that is? You get in your habit.
And then GT40, you also have to remember that you've got a door that's trying to kill you every time you close it, right?
Absolutely, man.
So I'm just going to do this to be like super.
You got to be.
There we go. I know there'll be lots of people watching being like, "Oh my God, why didn't you pick the Testarossa or the Countach?" Or I don't know. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. You've got such amazing cars.
Those cars don't shake you like these, man. You got to be shaken up a little bit.
There we go. How do I make this belt work? Because this is what's called an old school.
So you got it over. Yep, that's old school. So we used to put both of them through like that. Grab that one through.
1, 2.
Bang, hit it down, and
boom, we're in.
Got it.
Okay, I love
emergency.
That.
Bang, just pull it and jump the heck out.
So, will you kindly explain to us quickly before we roar up this beast, what are we actually in?
Well, so we are in a recreation, they call them continuation, Super Performance Ford GT40.
Okay.
Basically, this is an exact recreation, pretty darn close to the 1075 car that won at Le Mans in 1968 and 9.
Wow. Okay, so this is a pretty important and iconic car. Okay, fine, not the true original, but who cares? Because
we're on the street.
We're on the street, and that's the coolest thing. No,
exactly.
And this one you were mentioning has the sort of wide body and the wide tires.
It does, yeah. You know, so Super Performance, they started coming out with the Mark 1, which is what this is. And so they were all narrow body cars that, man, I wanted the 1070. You know, when I was 10 years old, going to Road America, seeing the original car when Rob Walton owned the original one. And so I think still does, obviously. But anyway, I wanted that car. And so when I contacted Super Performance, like, we don't do a wide body car. I'm like, why not? And they said, well, you know, because you cannot run race tires that big on the street. Nobody makes them. And So finally begging them, and finally they did it. So they built this car. So this is literally the first wide-body Golf car that they did.
I love
it. And of course, it had to be right-hand drive with everything.
You know,
just like
as authentic as possible, and then, as you say, running those big race tires. So yeah, this isn't going to necessarily be the hardest test I've ever done. It's going to be relatively tentative, but it's a history lesson. It's a history lesson. Before, I have to be honest, that's the main show. The new car's the main, because I think it's what these guys want to see. And anyway,
absolutely,
right.
But it's always good to get a little bit of comparison.
That's exactly
new
it.
versus old. Starter button up there.
Starter button up there.
Got it. Make sure you're out of gear.
You're watching games. I'm like, it's alive.
Oh, it's great, man. It's a treat every time.
So there's a handbrake, which is great. Okay, and there we go. We are rolling in a Ford GT. This is absolutely mad. Now, you were saying that the car is relatively twitchy on these tires in these conditions because it's we would call it damp.
Yes.
Yeah. Disservice to this car, but it reminds me a tiny bit of my Alfa Romeo 4C that I used to own, because it was a similar thing where it was as wide as it is long.
Yes.
And it follows like every bump in the road. Like we are all over the place.
Yes.
It's that noise, that soundtrack. What are we talking about in terms of engine?
So this is a small block 427 with Rouse fuel injected 8-stack injection. Roughly about 600 horsepower. 560 foot-pounds of torque. 2,400 pounds.
Oh my god. Yeah, it feels powerful. It feels powerful.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot going on now.
Makes you totally respect the racers back in the day.
I can't even begin to think what they must have been going through to push a car like this.
For a 6-hour stand going full bore.
Have you taken it on track?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Was that an experience?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. To understand the car and learn how it's going to be sort of unpredictable, it becomes quite predictable. You know?
Exactly.
Whoa! Oh. What even was that?
A buzzer.
That was a big bird. And a moment
that was close.
That was close.
They could have brought that back with us.
Yeah. That could have easily been a good YouTube title. Crashing a Ford GT into a buzzard. Oh man, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Wow. That was an experience. I just have such respect for the guys that raced these back in the day and what driving used to be.
And let alone during the day, but at night, rain, driving ahead of your headlights and your wipers. Total hats off to those guys.
It's been 5 minutes and I'm sweating. I love it. Right, shift off is...
Yep, just right here.
Right there, go.
Boom.
Peace.
Yeah, yes, dude, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
wow,
man, always fun, man.
Well, here we are then. I keep saying the main show because, yeah, I mean, that was amazing. Driving the Super Performance Ford GT. There were little bugs in here. Little flies. Let's open the window. Start up. See your little flies. There we go. This is effectively a homologation race car Ford decided to return to Le Mans with a Ford GT to win, and they did it. So pretty amazing story, similar to the one back in the 1960s, but with a completely different ethos and mentality. Now we're going to start off in sport mode. I will go into manual though. Track is kind of where we want to get to, but I just want to take it relatively easy. But immediately, the car is much easier to drive than the old car. The old one was switching all over the place, felt kind of raw, felt mean, felt like maybe it would spin up its wheels at any second. This one, at these kind of speeds, relatively sedate. But one thing I do know is that the travel of the throttle pedal in this car is quite long, and you have to really stamp it down. And there we go! That's speed, that's big speed. Just checking that my GoPros are still on. Yup. The sad thing is though, it's a predictable thing to say, but that engine sound is so unemotional, so kind of unengaging. It's even worse, I think, than a McLaren. There's just nothing. It's not even particularly nicely mechanical. You know, you can get into some cars like a Ferrari F50 or Carrera GT, and they sound completely different in the cabin to how they sound outside, but it's still a really engaging noise. This, if I drop down second gear, 5,500 RPM, I personally don't like that noise, but the speed is ballistic, and I've just seen that wing pop up as a big air brake. The amount of confidence I immediately have in comparison to the old 60s car is just hilarious. This is kind of what I think is actually wrong with modern day high performance cars. They're too easy to drive. I shouldn't be able to do this. I've just got into a car that is currently trading on the used market for over $1 million, and I'm absolutely thrashing it. It is exhilarating because of the speed. My concern is that at low speeds it lacks that exhilaration. We've already made it to the turnaround spot, which I can't quite believe. Lift up, there you go. Let's see if we can just spin it around here really quickly. I think I need to experience track, right? So, here we go, we're coming down on ride height. The rear wheel, oh, the rear wing is up. And we're now going to give this a go. Manual. Because Brian said that the car is a completely different beast in track. So, immediately louder, still not the nicest tone, but louder, and here's a straightaway. Oh, warp speed, warp speed. Yeah, that picks up pace a lot quicker. I want to find a corner though now, because we are hunkered to the ground, let's not forget that. And you can feel the air kind of pushing us down. And in my mind, this is beautiful aero. Forget your Senna, I still think this car looks awesome. And yes, it's good around the corner. I have to pay attention a bit here. I feel like I'm barely skimming the surface. I know it can do so much more. Here we go, long sweeper. Oh, don't lift, don't lift. Oh! Yes! Track mode! Oh, if you own a Ford GT, spend your life in track mode. Oh, it's very good. It's very good fun. Just my luck, as soon as we get back, the rain stops, the sun comes out, but anyway, who cares, because driving those two cars, an absolute dream. I'm just going to sort of summarise my experience, I guess, with the new GT, because that's the one that I was sort of more intrigued by, just because of all the sort of hype around it. In the US, those are trading for over $1 million on the used car market. I think the list price was around $500,000. So it's a hugely in-demand car, despite the fact that we've all known about it for so long. And the performance is kind of bizarre because it is really quick. Don't get me wrong, quicker cars have come out, 812 Superfasts and Aventador SVJs and things like that. Probably can rival this, but there's just something about what it has achieved, what it stands for, and that engine. I would compare it most to probably like a 675 LT McLaren. It's got that similar kind of delivery, but you feel like you're in something a bit more special. It's wider, it's lower, it's more purposeful, but the performance is probably an equivalent. Don't attack me if I'm kind of wrong there. So the takeaway note is, I much preferred my experience actually in the Super Performance one, because just there's something about that era of cars, of driving, which is inherently more me, and it was an absolute beast. And whilst I probably didn't push it half as nearly as hard as I did the new car, it still gave me such excitement. So an incredible day, an amazing experience. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Huge thanks to Brian, obviously, for showing me around and for letting me drive his two cars. Give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe for plenty more videos to come.
Today